Welcome back to Broken Bobby's transformation page. In the late 80s, I became involved with drugs and would eventually become part of that lifestyle of trafficking, addiction, and violence. Over the next 20 years, I would be in and out of jail and prison. If you're thinking about trying something or you're dealing with addiction, your life don't need to go down the same path mine did. I hurt a lot of people, both physically and emotionally. These are my stories of how I transformed my life, and you can too. Let's get it. All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. As you can see by the thumbnail, this is the video I've been promising for a while. Why I finished my term in the hole, also known as ad-seg. I want to give a special shout out to everybody that's subscribed. We just surpassed the 1,000 subs mark. So shout out to you guys. I really appreciate it. So this is North Kern State Prison, level 3. And I'm celled up with one of my homeboys, Andy from IE. And I'm about 2 months to the house. Maybe a little less, maybe about 7 weeks. And before we get all the way into it, if you're new to the channel, subscribe, smash that like button, drop a comment, share the video. Also, don't forget to hit that notification bell and hit all so that anytime I drop a new video or go live, you will be notified. So let me tell you how I got there. Okay, so originally I hit reception. I had level 1 points, first termer. Nothing really, no major write-ups or anything. I think I had like 18 points or something. Very minimal. So I finish up my time in reception. They send me to a CCF, Delano CCF, which is like almost right across the street from North Kern. And when I get there, I pretty much walk right into a riot. I never seen it was dorm living there. I never seen my bunk or got set up. Never got my property, none of that stuff. Like I was there a few minutes and it kicked off. So like I said before, these CCF riots are something else because they're a bunch of security guards basically, and they're not going to do anything to stop it. They're going to lock the doors and call the prison and wait for a response team to show up. So really long one, 45 minutes probably to an hour. Like it was, those burpees came in handy on that one because I was still sucking wind, but you know, had I not been in pretty decent shape, that could have ended really badly. So they sent me to a higher level of custody. They sent me to McFarland MCCF, which is in McFarland, California, a little further down the road. And this is considered a level 2 because it's got the double gate and the barbed wire and all that other stuff. Same thing though. We ended up getting into another riot, and ultimately they kicked me back to North Kern State Prison, level 3. My points got jacked up, and basically I got a write-up on the last riot. I didn't get one on the first one. They just moved everybody around basically. And on this one, I did get a write-up and my points got jacked up. And I think the way that works is in the riots that I've been in, the people, you know, when they set up their skirmish line and all that stuff, if you know, you get down rather quickly and you're not really observed wreaking havoc out there, I guess you would say, then a lot of times they'll just put you back in population, and they'll remove the people that were really out there in the mix. So yeah, the McFarland one, I ended up getting sprayed in that one, so I got a write-up. And they, like I said, they jacked up my points. My points went to like 40 or something. And now I'm back at North Kern. So relatively quickly after me arriving at North Kern, we went on lockdown for a riot with the blacks. Now, I didn't participate in that. That happened out on the yard, and they ended up locking all the whites and all the blacks on the 3 yard down, all the buildings. And so I'm in the cell with the homie Andy, like I said. And we're, when you're on a lockdown, there ain't really much you can do. You don't get out. You get a shower like twice a week. There's no day room. There's no yard. You pretty much got nothing coming. So we're on the lockdown. We're trying to get, create some weapons so that when we do get released, we're ready for the next round of, this war, basically. And there was another Wood in the building. We'll call him Red. He was from Tulare County. And he got some legal paperwork. Now, legal paperwork typically comes from like your lawyer or something along those sorts, maybe the courts, probation, parole, whoever is sending it to you. So, dude got some legal paperwork. He went back to the cell. His cellie checked it out. It was all bad. Apparently liked much younger females, like 11-year-old females. And so the cellie shot a kite to the powers that be, informing him of what was going on. And he was instructed to handle business in the cell because we were on lockdown. So now, personally, I think had I seen that paperwork, I would have just handled business, period. But that's the route that he chose. Maybe he didn't want to deal with it. I really don't know. But he got word back to handle business, and he didn't. So they started circulating kites to the white population that if we were out of the cell, if we happened to be out of the cell and they were out of the cell, it was a green light on both of them. So, typically you want to actually see paperwork on something like that, but there was plenty of detail provided, and it seemed legit. A few weeks go by, and they're running showers. Me and my cellie are cuffed up and taken to the showers. And something I want to point out, prior to this, they were doing a lot of shakedowns on the whites and the blacks as far as, searching our pads, our cell, basically, looking for weapons because they were preparing for, modified releases, basically, where they would let some of them and some of us out and see what happens. Well, they had shook down the pad, and there wasn't anything in there. Basically, it got disposed of prior to them doing that. And so me and Andy are out. We're cuffed. They take us to the showers. We're in boxers and shower shoes. And they get us uncuffed at the shower. And who comes walking in if it isn't Red? I don't know where he had been, but he was, they had released him back into our building to go to a cell, and we were out. So it's go time in shower shoes and boxers. Basically nothing, no weapons to be used. It was a completely spontaneous thing. So we basically kick off the shower shoes and we're on this dude. And when Andy hit him first, and that was one of the loudest cracks I've ever heard of somebody. I think he busted his nose. And we got on him, and we were staying on him. There were no weapons, so basically we were trying to do as much damage as quickly as possible as in the amount of time that we would have. Because, okay, so when the guards get around to hitting you with that OC spray, I think I called it pepper spray before. It's similar, but I believe it's called OC spray. By the time, what happens is when something goes down, when a removal's happening, the guards are going to hit the alarm. They're going to call for you to get on the ground, in which, in this case, we weren't getting on the ground. We were going to keep continuing until we were removed. But by the time they get sufficient backup into that unit and they hit you with the spray, you are sucking for wind already. So it's, like it's a bad situation, basically. Like by the time they hit us with the spray, I was on the ground. They hit us and I was on the ground, couldn't breathe, and thought it felt like I was going to die, if I'm being honest. Okay, so we're cuffed up. The incident's been quelled, and the the whites are yelling out at us like, "That's right, homeboy, you did that shit. Becker Wood," type of stuff. And to be honest with you, if I didn't have a my wife at home and my kids at home waiting for me, I can see where people get institutionalized. This wasn't the first time I had been recognized for an act of violence. And to be honest with you, it feels good. Yeah. So we did the best we could to get rid of this guy. There was a lot of blood from when Andy cracked him. Like I said, I think he busted his nose and like he was like a pig all over the place with it, a stuck pig. So, yeah, like I said, they hit us with the spray, and next thing you know, we're in cuffs. Okay, so we're cuffed up. The incident's been quelled, and the the whites are yelling out at us like, "That's right, homeboy, you did that shit. Becker Wood," type of stuff. And to be honest with you, if I didn't have a my wife at home and my kids at home waiting for me, I can see where people get institutionalized. This wasn't the first time I had been recognized for an act of violence. And to be honest with you, it feels good. And they took their sweet ass time getting us into the shower to, get it off. Like that stuff just feels like your face is melting, type of stuff, or wherever you get sprayed at. So, like, it was pretty much all over my upper end. And one thing I will say is when you do end up in that shower, that stuff runs straight down. So it's a horrible, horrible thing. But dude got what he had coming. He actually had more coming than we were able to give him, but we got on him. We handled business, and we were on to ad-seg. So I'll probably do another video on ad-seg sometime here shortly. But I guess like I said, I was like 7 weeks or so, not even 7 weeks, probably 6 weeks to parole when this occurred. And this really was a risky venture for me, being that I was so close to the pad. But, this is the stuff that happens in prison, guys. If dude was messing with an 11-year-old, my daughter was 11 at that time, so that really filled me with rage. And I was more than happy to get on him. But I hope everybody's having a great day. And, if we don't put ourselves in positions where we may end up in prison, then we won't have to worry about this kind of stuff. Family, fitness, and freedom are what helped me to turn my life around and not be in these sort of circumstances. And honestly, I was very lucky. I could have got an outside referral. I could have got a lot of stuff, but luckily 6 weeks later, I was being held for Riverside County, so I didn't go home, but I got a free bus ride back down to the IE. And, that worked out okay. A couple weeks later, I was back on the streets. But, yeah, these kind of things can happen. And I don't tell these stories to glamorize anything. Nothing glamorous about this stuff, guys. So, play the tape all the way through, and it's just one day at a time. That's really all we can do. And don't look at the mountain, guys. Just start climbing.